Alright, let's go back to the bog. The reason I'm saying that is I started taking Bojuka Bogs out of a lot of my decks. I talked about this in a video I had previously. And the reason I did that is normally what seems to happen, you draw your lands, you need to play your lands, you need to get your resources in play. One of the lands you draw is Bojuka Bog. Comes into play tapped, so it slows you down by turn. Exile somebody's graveyard. Well, in the first few turns, if you draw the bog as a land, and you need land, you're going to play it. This is what I see time and time again. So you play the bog, you look over the other lads. How many cards do you have in your graveyard? 3. And you? None. Alright, I guess I'll exile your graveyard. Get rid of those 3 cards. Okay. And so, it doesn't really do anything for you. It just exile somebody's graveyard when you don't need to, and the reason you do that is because you need the land. You need to get the land into play. If it comes out later in the game, then you can use it more strategically, more targeted. You can take out somebody's graveyard that's actually a problem. The thing is, because what I was doing is running it in decks and trying to use the Karoo lands, like Dimir Aqueduct. Dimir Aqueduct comes into play tapped. It provides 1 black and 1 blue. Bounce a land back to your hand when it comes into play. Okay, so you would bounce the bog. That never happened. I don't remember that ever happening. Any of the decks I played with Bojuka Bog and I expected to do that, it didn't work. Bojuka Bog was slowing me down. Tormod's Crypt is better because you just throw it out on the table, let everybody look at it, let everybody think about it. People start considering their graveyard choices because they know there's a Tormod's Crypt on the table. And you can do it anytime you want. Oh, you're going to reanimate Elvish Norn? Oh, fuck that. In response, I will sacrifice Tormod's Crypt and exile your graveyard. Bojuka Bog, you can't do that. You can't play it as an instant, typically. There are ways to do it, but not in every color for sure. So I started taking them out of my decks. Started relying on Tormod's Crypt, relying on Withered Wretch, relying on things like that. But Homeboy and Korva are both set up in a way that they can use Bojuka Bog. And the reason I say that is Homeboy has Lake of the Dead. So Homeboy is going to get a Lake of the Dead. And there's the 2 swamps I'm going to take out. So I'm going down from 29 swamps to 27. I think that's okay. I mean, this deck is heavy black. Oh my god, is it heavy black. But it's mono black, so I guess that's okay. My plan, my idea, is that, okay, Crucible of Worlds. I have Crucible of Worlds in the deck, and I also have Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. So, if I need to, let me find the Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Where is it? Come on, Urborg. Heavy black. 4 black right there. Jesus Christ. But he's a big black bastard. He's a beater. He punches people in the face and they don't like it. There it is. Okay. So here's my idea. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, turns all my lands into swamps. Bojuka Bog becomes a swamp. I can eat it with Lake of the Dead for 4 black. I can then replay it with Crucible of Worlds. So I have a repeatable, recursive way to exile somebody's graveyard. So that's why Homeboy is getting one. Korva is kind of the same. Korva does not have Crucible of Worlds. He has Conduit of Worlds, which does the same damn thing, with the added bonus of I can play 1 spell out of my graveyard a turn, but of course that is the only spell I can play that turn. But sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes it suits you right to the ground and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get this spell back and it's going to work for me. So Homeboy is going down to 27 swamps. He's getting a nice foil Bojuka Bog. And this is why you don't get rid of your cards. So I recall these being about €20 each in foil when they first came out. They were in high demand. People wanted them. I wasn't going to pay 20 euros for it, but later when it dropped down to about 10, I picked a couple up, and then they dropped further with further reprints, and now I'll never get the, it's only 10 euros. I'll never get that. I'll never financially recover from this. So I kept them, and I started taking them out of my decks, but I kept them. And it was a good thing I did, because now Horobi has one. I'm going to set Horobi aside. I'm going to take him tonight. Today is Thursday, June, what is today, the 20th? June 20th, year of our Lord, 2024. Alright, so let's change Korvold, and Korvold is going to be more surprising. I already decided what I was going to take out, and it's not a land. Korvold only runs 37 lands. Only 37 lands. He's got lots of ways to find it, but he feels like I shouldn't slow myself down by taking out simply a land for the bog. So I'm going to take out something that might surprise you. It surprised me at first when I realized that is the most logical thing to do, because this card is a distraction in the deck. He's not really necessary in the deck. There it is, Conduit of Worlds. So this is how Korvold is going to get back his bog. You know, with Korvold, I can sacrifice the bog when he comes into play, when he attacks, or to Zern Orb. I've got multiple ways of sacrificing Bojuka Bog with Korvold, and then I can get it back. And Korvold, unlike Horobi, he has the additional advantage of burgeoning. So I'm not restricted to one land per turn in Korvold if my opponents are playing lands in their turn. So yes, I'm taking out Valentin, Dean of the Vein, Lisette, Dean of the Root, because it's kind of a distraction. He's highly effective. He looks really cool. I like the card. I only have one other deck I could play it in, which is Muldratha. The problem is, so I thought this would be great. I get more creatures to sacrifice. It's keeping up the two colorless. So he can come down early, but in the early game I want to set up. I'm setting up, I'm building my resources. I typically don't have the two set aside, the two available to trigger this. And it is only when an opponent's creature would die. So, one, a creature they have would have to die. Two, I would have to have the two colorless. And then I get one creature I can sacrifice. Lisette is even more interesting, kind of. So whenever I get in life, I can pay one. If I do, put a +1 counter on each creature I control, and they get trample until end of turn. That's not really necessary in the deck. So I'm taking out a creature for a bog in order not to go below 37 mana producing lands, because I don't fully consider Bojuka Bog a mana producing land. I consider it more of a trick. So let's put that there. And that's Korvold and Horobi going back to the bog. Don't really have anything new for those two lands. Should I take Korvold tonight? Yeah, I'll take Korvold tonight. So the next thing, the reason I have these up, is I'm going to make some changes to Azami. I'll probably make that a separate video so I can split it up. So people that care about Korvold and Horobi can watch that. People who care about Azami can watch that. So what I'm going to do is I want to work in crawl space. I do not have a Force of Will, Pact of Negation, or Force of Negation available for my EDH collection. My Force of Wills are all in my vintage decks. My Force of Negations are all in Modern Merfolk, and I don't like scavenging decks to feed other decks. I just don't like doing that. Even if I don't play them that often, even if I haven't played Vintage in, what, 6 months? I haven't played Vintage in 6 months. Huh. So, I still don't like scavenging the decks, and I don't own a Pact of Negation. So this foil should be good in Azami. Trinket Mage. Who was it? I think it was Connor. Again. No, it was somebody else. Izzy Schemy? Might have been Izzy Schemy. So they recommended I put in Trinket Mage. And I said, what would you take out? And he recommended a cut. And I thought, you're right. I should cut that. Kind of want to put in Curse of the Swine. Deals with Eldrazi, but in Nostrusion I don't have to deal with that. I still have to deal with bullshit creatures, and this takes care of them. Ghostly Flicker. Oh, you're targeting Azami. You're targeting Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx. Okay, they're going to flicker out and come back. Screw your attempt to destroy them. And Archaeomancer. If I put in Ghostly Flicker, I really want to put in Archaeomancer. But I'll do the Azami video right after this. Cheers.